So when I go in the stable with Vicky to bring her out, I'll always start by picking out her feet. This just lets me take out anything that's in her feet, check for any stones. It's also a perfect opportunity to check the legs for any lumps or bumps, any heat or swelling that's not usually there. And then I'll bring her out of her stable and check how she walks, make sure there's no problems, and then put her in the wash bay and start to tack her up. Once Vicky's been groomed, I always start with the bandages and the boots. When putting on the bandage, it's a work bandage, so it can't be too high. It needs to sit underneath the knee. You don't want to restrict any movements when she's working. When the bandage is on, check the pressure. The pressure must be even all the way down. You don't want the bandage too low. It doesn't need to be any lower than around the bottom of the fetlock. And if the bandage is too tight, it could lead to a further injury. Our horses wear fetlock boots behind, and when putting on the fetlock boots, I always start slightly higher up and push the boot down the leg around the fetlock. This just prevents any rubs or friction from the hairs sitting the wrong way. And then I would secure the boot and just check again it's not too tight or not too loose. So then I'd put on the saddle pad. I always put it almost too far forward just so that I can slide it back. Again, like the boots, you don't want the hair to be sitting different ways and cause friction. We use a gel underneath every saddle. This just helps keep the saddle in place and provides a little bit more protection between the saddle and the horse. Here on Scott's Yard, every horse has their own made-to-measure saddle. We have a regular saddle fitter that comes out and checks every horse, make sure the saddle's fitting correctly. It's really important that your horse's saddle fits correctly. If you are unsure about how your saddle is fitting, get professional advice. Once I'm happy with where the saddle is fitting, I will start to fasten up the girth. When putting on the bridle, I always separate the bit guards first, support the head, entice the horse to open its mouth by gently putting my thumb in its mouth. I always push the ears into the headpiece. I never pull the bridle over the ears just because that is more uncomfortable for the horse. A common mistake is that the noseband is too low, and then this affects where the flash sits. Your noseband needs to be just underneath the cheekbone, and you should be able to get 2 fingers in between the nose and the noseband just so that it's not too tight. The same with the flash, you don't want to over tighten the flash, and you just want to check that the bit is sitting straight in the mouth, that it's not too low. If it's too low, they'll get the tongue over the bit. To do this, you just want to pull the cheek pieces almost away from the side of the horse and just check that they're not pulling too tight. Check the horse's lips aren't wrinkled around the bit. Check they're not smiling. If they are smiling, then the bit is far too high in the mouth. And to check the throat lash is fitting correctly, you should be able to get 4 fingers in between the throat lash and the horse's jaw. So the last thing I will do is check everything's in its keepers, and then Vicky is ready to go.